Hi, this is Starkey Sowers, Director of Education for Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market. Today we've got a kind of a unique situation here. We've got an interview with Dr. Alan Logan. I got that right?
You got it right,
Okay,
Starkey.
all right. So I'm trying to remember the name real well, and Alan's really easy.
Alan, that's it. Stick with that.
Dude, Logan is like a Southern California surfboard monster name. So I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that, but I know it now.
So SoCal, dude, you got the proper
I'm in.
name.
I'm in.
So yeah. All right, so we've got a new line coming to you guys from Canada. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's something that's maybe a little unique about Canada is Health Canada.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Health Canada?
Sure. Well, the regulations in Canada are very strict when it comes to natural health products. They have a Natural Health Product Directorate, which is part of Health Canada, as you said. And they're very strict in terms of manufacturing processes, claims, marketing, top to bottom. Everything needs to be crisp in and out. So the regulations are quite strict.
So if we're going to like take a product, and we're going to get into some products.
Yeah.
And, okay, so we take this product right here, and
Yeah.
it says, you know, right away, Genuine Health, that's the name of the company that we're presenting today. Is
That's
the
right.
manufacturer out of Canada, and it says right here, fast joint care.
Yes.
You're going to make that claim, you better be able to substantiate it with some science.
Right.
Right? Okay.
In Canada, claims are allowable on label if the science is there. Health Canada reviews it. If there's enough credible science, absence of adverse effects, they will allow for claims.
So they allow for claims.
Yeah.
A lot more stringent than the United States, although the United States is getting tighter and tighter every day.
It is.
We're starting to see that tighten up, especially now with Daniel Fabricant leaving the Natural Products Association, going to the FDA. He's really trying to help us tighten some things up.
And I think we need to have that. I think
disagree.
I think we need some element of security, for everybody. It's good for industry. It's good for obviously for the consumers as well.
Absolutely. We've actually throughout the years we've kind of reached out to different companies out of Australia and Canada to kind of bring us the forefront of tight science, so to speak. And there's a lot of companies here in the States that bring that, but then there's a lot of them that don't. I mean, especially with us, we have a lot of the bodybuilding products, and you got to be really careful with a lot of those.
Yes.
So just really get a little edgy.
Well, the problem is it dilutes the good science, right? It actually takes away from the folks that are trying to do a credible, honest-to-goodness job for the consumer.
Right. And then the guys that just come in for a quick buck and shyster it up and get out. So.
In and out. Yeah, you're right.
All right. So tell us about your experience. What exactly, doctor? Give us details.
Sure.
Naturopathic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a naturopathic doctor. I graduated. I've been 10 years in the business now since I graduated.
Where'd you graduate from?
The Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine in Toronto.
Great college, actually.
Yeah. And as soon as I graduated, I was consulting for Genuine Health, helping them in their R&D, and also helping in their formulation of their products as well. Essentially doing research and development in the science, gathering the science, turning over stones to figure out what might be a good fit from a scientific perspective, but also very importantly, and I know you appreciate this, Starkey, is to give the consumers the level of the ingredient that they need. In other words, it's one thing for there to be great science, and then you give someone a smidgen of the ingredient.
I like to call it fairy dust.
Yeah, fairy, exactly.
Sprinkle it with the ingredient,
you put it
a couple
on the label.
milligrams, and you put it on the label, and everyone thinks, hey, this is going to be the greatest thing, and it's nowhere close to the therapeutic dose.
Yeah, and I really think that that's where Genuine Health's forte is matching the therapeutic dose with the research so that ultimately the consumer is happier, they come back for the repurchase. It ultimately makes industry look better if we all kind of get aboard.
You
with
feel
that.
solid. It's like, it says it on the label, I bought it, it works. Okay, that makes me feel good.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So, and just as a background.
Couple things here. We got. We didn't obviously bring in the whole line, but we brought in some things that I thought were substantial.
Sure.
So a couple of these are your babies all the way around the block, right?
Well, I don't like to stake claim for everything that's here. I certainly don't make money off the sales of this, so I need to make that very clear as well.
I understand that.
But in terms of background and research and development, there's a team of us. I don't like to claim full responsibility for it, but
at least you guys think that you had the team up a little bit, right?
the team, I fire the team up. Let's put it that way. And certainly with the Fast Joint Plus Care, I'm actually quite proud of that formulation because there's good research behind it, not only in animal models where all this emerged from, but in two recent studies, both of them published in 2009, one of them in the prestigious Journal of Rheumatology.
And that is extremely prestigious, by the way.
It
doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. I mean, you're looking at peer-reviewed, double-blind, placebo-controlled research done in multiple centers. It's really the gold standard when you're doing a study design.
Right.
Now, what you're looking at there inside the box, you see this egg-shaped silhouette here, and that's reflective of the fact that in that capsule is the egg membrane. Now, when you crack open an eggshell and you've got that glossy, shiny lining on the inside, Or if you hard boil it, it's the white clingy stuff that sticks
the
on
stuff
the
that
shell.
you peel off and throw away.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the eggshell membrane. It turns out that within it there is glucosamine, chondroitin, dermatan sulfate, fucose, type 1 collagen, essentially everything you would want for your own joint.
Everything that's going to feed the glucosamine-glycans, the proteoglycans, help with the synthesis of new material, cartilage, synovial fluid, the whole 10 yards. All right, so here I was. I mean, this is like a great moment, okay?
Yeah.
So you see 36 raw eggs a day,
Yeah.
okay? All right, so doing the bodybuilding thing, ate a bunch of eggs. I mean, not too many people I know ate more eggs than that, okay?
Yeah.
So anyways, I used to sit there and peel it sometimes. I open it up and I look at it, I'm like going, that membrane's got to be worth something. Of course, I just threw it in the bucket every single day. 36 of them went in the bucket.
Yeah.
And what you're telling me is I should have just eaten the whole thing.
You may have been better on, well, I don't know about the shell itself, but definitely that membrane. If you could find a way, which these researchers did, the steam-based process to remove it. But going back to folklore, cowboys used to put actually the full egg shells with the membrane intact into coffee in the brewing process. And, you know, they swore by the fact that this was making them feel better in terms of, you know...
Basically, you're out on the plains for, you know, long durations of time. I mean, your joints are going to, by the time you're 30, 40 years old, they're going to be pretty worn out.
So. It was a tough business to be in.
Still is for those that
to be a mountain man.
That are in there.
So, but to bring it back to the scientific perspective from folklore, so these two studies that were published, now, what they showed was that you were getting results from this eggshell membrane. And here's the key, and I know that you appreciate this, at a 1 a day. We've just now gone
Which is crazy, because when I used it, I was using 1 a day.
Yeah, 500 milligram capsule. You and I both know that if consumers are compliant, the opportunity for success is greater, right?
Now, one of the things that you say in here is you guys actually have a 10-day supply.
That's right.
And the objectivity of that is to like, okay, let's do 10 days. You do 10 days, you should notice some small change or maybe a large amount of change. I noticed for me, it was very subtle when I started using it.
Yes.
I used it, and I had like a nagging elbow that just, you know, I'd take glucosamines, MSMs, all the other different things.
Yeah.
It just, you know, great for my knees and shoulders, but this one particular elbow just never seemed to make a budge on it. And I started using this stuff, and it was very subtle, like 30 days into it. And I just woke up one day and go, you know, I'm not grinding that elbow. And it's not like, you know, I want to bring on this big moment of, you know, testimonial, but just for me, I noticed it took a little longer than the 10 days to start making a difference.
And that's certainly reflective of the research. The research studies actually indicated that through the 10 days is when it was deviating from placebo.
Right.
And then certainly through the 30 and the 60 days,
that's
when you were
really
getting
so, you know, and that
point.
placebo effect, very, very important, because, you know, you first start taking it. I'll be honest with you, I went in with just an absolute bad attitude. I went in with, this stuff's not going to work. This is ridiculous, you know. So I started taking it. And I'm like, okay, I'll just continue. And, you know, that 10-day gap starts hitting, and that's, like you said, that's where the placebo effect starts to split. All right, Dr. Logan, so a couple thoughts, you know, and let's just wrap up the joint care idea real quick. So give me a couple of sentences to bullet that up.
So the long and the short of it is, after the 30 to 60 days in, you were seeing a 50% reduction in pain, same numbers in flexibility, range of motion, and joint stiffness. When the researchers compared the data, not me, the researchers in the study compared the data, they found that an individual would be 5 times more likely to respond to this than glucosamine, chondroitin. So I'm not here to knock them. Obviously they can work, but it's a longer-term investment.
Well, and one of my thoughts was, why not take that and put it into a glucosamine supplement as well, too?
It's certainly you could do that. The difference here is...
But there's a price issue, though, isn't there?
I mean, we're going to get into pricing, but the reason why this works quickly and why it's called fast joint care is because it has anti-inflammatory properties. It works
on its own, it's better.
It reduces inflammation, and that's the advantage of this, right? And that's, I think, where we're really getting an edge.
The other thing I noticed is there's no GI upset, though. It felt real nice on my stomach.
Very well tolerated in both of the studies. Side effects and adverse effects were essentially non-existent.
Okay, great. All right, so another one of your protege products here, right?
So we've got the skincare line over here. You can take your pick about which one you want to start over.
Well, you know, I mean, and you just got to kind of clarify for me. I mean, I look at this and I go, I'm just trying to be consumer, right? So I look at Perfect Skin, and I'm like going, hey, I mean, I'm 50 years old. Perfect Skin would absolutely be something I want, right? Okay, so then I look at Healthy Skin. I think of my kids, my teenagers, you know, because they're the ones that, you know, want the healthy skin, right? They're, oh, Dad, I got acne, so forth and so on. And then I look at the dermalipids, and then this actually has some very significant
It has natural ceramides.
Yeah, so
which
I mean,
is very unique to industry.
This is huge. I mean, when we think about ceramides, there's probably a lot of folks that don't know about ceramides, but that's the integrity of the skin. It's almost like the immune factors for the skin, as well as also like the armor or the guard for the skin.
That's exactly what it is.
There's been topical applications, but never really I've seen any internal applications.
Yeah.
When Nicole presented this to us, I was thinking, you got to be kidding me. There's like actual internal ceramides, and I said, we got to have this one. So,
well, the way it works is that barrier that you're referring to, the stratum corneum, as it's called in the epidermis, is incredibly thin but incredibly powerful, and it's built from the inside out.
Right.
So these ceramides that exist in nature, Japanese researchers gave them internally, and they found after 3 weeks there was a 250% increase in skin hydration because they're rebuilding the outer layer and locking the water in on the inside. And that's
I'm
the
like
success of this.
Dry skin king, you know. So for this product and me, I think we're just going to be like buds for a while here.
Yeah. Well, and again, with the topicals that you're referring to with ceramides, those are almost exclusively synthetic ceramides. They're not natural ceramides.
So what's the derivative compound for this?
Well, you're getting them primarily from the germ of wheat. And they're concentrating them out, and you have to do a fair bit of that to get to the level. 200 milligrams is the dose of ceramides used in the clinical research.
Clinical research. All right, so right away you said wheat germ oil, and so wheat germ oil is obviously just a staple out of the 50s and 60s and 70s. But nowadays everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's got to be gluten in this thing, right?
Yes.
So obviously gluten-free, right?
Well, what we're doing is it's disclosed on the label, as any consumer that comes in and checks out the box will see. It'll never be more than 20 parts per million gluten. That's what's the guarantee, right? And this comes into Canadian regulations as well. According to Codex guidelines, that defines gluten-free. If your own personal standards are greater than that, well, then we're letting you know on the label that we're saying never more than 20 parts per million.
Which is about as clean.
Beyond that, it's up to you. If your standards are higher, then we can't make guarantees beyond that. So it's actually a positive disclosure.
I think actually, going outside and breathing probably would give you about the same amount of exposure.
It may do. It may do.
Definitely. Okay, so real quick, applications for this. Old guy like me.
Well, I don't know about old guys, but dry skin, sensitive skin, because when you lose those ceramides, inflammation ensues. And it could be microinflammation all the way to overt dermatitis.
So maybe rosacea, eczema, dermatitis situations?
Anytime there's inflammation in the skin, ceramides are typically low. So this was something that you think about.
Okay, great. So great product for a lot of applications. And maybe like you said, the sensitive skin issue.
Yeah.
We're here in Southern California, but we're in Riverside, and one of the things that we're world famous for is the Santa Anas.
Yes.
And we were 5 miles away from the Santa Ana River, and we get some monster Santa Ana winds that just howl through here about 100 miles an hour and just dries the skin right out.
Everything up,
You're just you wake up and you're just in this itch moment. So maybe a perfect
ceramides are incredibly important in keeping that itch factor down.
All right. So, I was going to ask the question. I mean, to me, when I look at this is like a general, okay, I'm not taking any multivitamins.
Yeah.
I'm not using anything. I'm walking in the door. I'm a teenager. I want healthy skin.
Yeah.
And it's got fatty acids in it as well, too.
Well, the multi does not. This is a full-spectrum multivitamin. So for anyone, and that would be 60% of consumers today taking a multivitamin, what you're getting here is just some added value ingredients for skin. So I'm already doing the multi, and now I'm going to go in, I'm going to take fish collagen. So there's a quarter of a gram of marine collagen in here.
Saw that.
There's lycopene, which is the skin's greatest friend. If you go out into the sun, UV hits the skin.
California.
Lycopene dips down. It's the great protector of the skin. And there's also some white tea and pomegranate extract to give you the antioxidant protection in the skin as well.
So it's a phytonutrient antioxidant protection.
You got it. And it's more about just providing a little bit of extra layer of protection for those that are taking a multi.
Okay.
And the final ingredient here, perfect skin. Although you wouldn't really know it, it's not really presented, in my mind, it should be presented more clearly, but it is for acne, Sarky. That's what this is all about.
So I almost had it backwards.
I knew you were going to ask.
This is the one that's added protection, general, and then this is, okay, we've got acne situations.
Acne formula.
This is where we're headed.
Yeah, and for hardcore dudes that are not prepared to pick up the pink box, it does come in a blue box as well. The product inside is the same.
So if you have a boy, we've got the blue box.
We've got the blue box.
Right.
And what you're seeing in there inside is the EPA, the anti-inflammatory omega-3, cutting down inflammation in the skin. There's also zinc and selenium, which are incredibly important in acne. And there's also chromium to help stabilize blood sugar, and EGCG, which turns down the dial on DHT. And I know you know all about DHT.
So right away, DHT, especially for, and so that'd be a great situation for
and how do I say this? Andropause acne. So guys that get older and they've got acne as they get older.
Yeah. And it's not exclusive to men too. The DHT is at play in acne in women as well. Right. So again, the EGCG from green tea is a good friend to the acne prone skin. Yeah.
I want to kind of cover the next couple phases here.
Well, I'm getting into your
vegan protein. Now, you are coming to my turf.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is definitely kind of my area, my passion.
It is. Yeah.
So let's talk vegan protein.
Sure.
You know, we're in the break a little bit. Nicole was mentioning, hey, by the way, it's got cranberry protein in it.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And so when cranberry protein actually hit the market, I was writing a training manual for our staff on proteins.
Yes.
And so I called up and I said, hey, send me some of this cranberry protein. They sent it out to me and I started using tablespoons of the stuff. Yeah. It's a little bit bitter. Yeah. It's a little bit crazy tasting on its own.
Yes.
Although great amino acid profile, omega-3s, omega-9s, omega-6s, great fatty acid profile. So you guys got kind of used that in there, and I tasted it, and it tastes remarkably well. Yeah. So you obviously had to use some Canadian field pea protein, which actually has a better profile than soy protein. Yeah. Much better profile. Being Canadian, you couldn't escape that.
No, we had to bring. We were almost mandated.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way.
Wouldn't have been right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So give me some details. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, the fact is that, and you know this, people are coming in. They're looking for soy-free alternatives for plant proteins, right? I mean, we've got to a point now where people are literally checking under the covers at night to see if there are any phytoestrogens under there.
Absolutely.
So soy's not flavor of the month at the moment.
It's not.
And when we went to the drawing board with this, the idea was, all right, let's get a plant-based protein for those that enjoy that and desire that. You don't necessarily have to be a vegan to go for a plant-based protein.
Well, sorry to interrupt, but some guys after a while just go, I just want to do something different. Something different.
Protein
Let me just move it around and, like for me, I use whey, but 4 or 5 days a week I'll use whey, and then 2 days a week I'm just, I'm taking my break. I just need a break. I think it just does my body good not to eat it every day. Yeah. So this would be a great alternative in a situation like this.
And I actually think what you're saying there are some sports nutritionists as well, like yourself, they're coming around to the notion that maybe it is good to cycle the proteins just for the body's sake anyway, to reduce the risk of what are called food intolerances. So with the vegan protein, when you go to the drawing board, obviously you can bring together your rice and your beans, or your Canadian pea protein, if you will. And we did that with brown rice and the pea. But then we decided, look,
adjusting that amino acid profile to try to make a complete amino acid.
Exactly. But I mean, if you just did that alone, I mean, on paper you might have that, but some of my fingers were a bar graph for the amino acids, and I know I'm speaking to the choir with yourself here, Starkey.
But the audience doesn't always understand that.
They're barely there, so you want to bring in.
And that was my thought. It's barely there.
Barely there, and so our idea was, all right, let's go a step further. Bringing in, as you said, the cranberry seed protein. The cranberry seed protein is 30% protein cranberry seeds. Yeah. With, as you said, a unique amino acid profile. We'll bring in hemp, we'll bring in alfalfa, and now you're bringing up the amino acid profile to a much better place than if you simply just did a green pea or a brown rice, or frankly both. Yeah. So I think in that case, now all of that wouldn't even, it would be meaningless conversation if the product itself tasted horrible. Then it would just be a pointless discussion.
And that was kind of my thought. I was, oh man, let me taste this stuff. And it definitely has a good flavor.
And I think that comes from the fact that using less stevia, we're bringing in the Lohan fruit.
Yeah, you guys use the Lohan. That's good.
Approved as a sweetener in Japan and other Asian nations.
And obviously in Canada.
Yeah, it is approved in Canada. That's true. So, I guess you get less bitterness there. It mixes really well, and I think that's been the secret of success with the vegan proteins.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right, so abs plus. Dude, I mean, don't you, when you see that just right away, you're like going, okay, I want abs by the end of the weekend. I'm taking this stuff, right? I mean, it's just, obviously it's not that quick.
It is not that quick. It's not that simple. If you look across the research at CLA, you're looking at, really 2 to 3 months in based on the studies that have shown success. And I think as we're coming full circle here, Starkey, as we wind down, because we started our conversation with matching the research levels for folks.
Yeah, and this legitimately is the research levels of CLA. It's matching the research
levels, but the caveat is it's a 6-a-day formula. You're going to have to do 3 and 3.
Or 2, 3 times a day.
Or 2, 3, exactly. Now, we were trumpeting how great the fast joint care is. It's 1 a day. The folks need to know up front, if you want to match the research, it's 6 a day. You're also getting the research-based level of the EGCG, which is 270 milligrams of EGCG. So it's a nice combination, and it has been the subject of finished research at the University of Toronto on the actual product itself.
Now all the research I've seen throughout the years, you see positive, negatives for CLA.
Sure.
And as the years have now kind of trickled down, I actually see some very significant areas that it seems to have best application.
Yes.
post-menopause, menopausal women seem to respond very favorable according to the studies,
yes.
and our purchasing people that come back and buy it, and individuals that have blood sugar irregularities seem to be the ones that respond the best. I don't know what you saw in your research, but that's kind of some of the things I've seen throughout the years.
I've seen similar material. We're starting to get selective in terms of who might be responsive to it, because you're right. Overall, with CLA, you know, weight control, weight management as a an issue within natural health product industry, it's very difficult to get that one thing that's going to work.
Yeah, it's never going to be exactly
It's not going to
everything.
happen. So you have to cover your bases there, and I think that final product that you're getting there, the Gopher Trim, makes an attempt to do that. The researchers at Genuine Health put this together, and what the thinking was, there's good research on glucomannan, the very soluble fiber,
right.
you know, that expands when it gets down into the gut, improving satiety.
There's just an old basic study taking glucomannan on a regular basis, just knocked an inch off the waist within 30 to 90 days.
Yeah, it's
so
been
that's
around
kind
for
of
a long time. It's been
Jack
around for a long
LaLanne
time.
brought it out, you know, just
it's
years
stuff.
ago.
And
this one's got a caffeine boost.
Well, you get a tiny amount of caffeine in the green coffee bean extract
Right.
that's in there. It's a very small amount, but what you're getting from the green coffee bean extract are called chlorogenic acids, and they shift the way fat is used as an energy source, such that you're shifting up by 36% the amount of fat used as an energy source based on the studies. So you have that, and then there's also some 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is trying to tap into the folks where mood and craving
So
is
just
an
kind
issue.
of deal with the cravings.
Yeah, and then finally there's some chromium to regulate the
Looks
blood
like a great
glucose.
product.
Yeah, so that's brand new from Genuine Health. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just take this through. We're going to recap what we got. Let's go from top to bottom.
Sure.
Okay, and so we'll kind of look at the whole company that we've brought in, the profile that we've brought in.
Yeah.
So the vegan proteins, great alternative to whey protein, complete amino acid profile, as complete as you're going to get.
Because of the 5 proteins,
5 proteins.
Yeah.
Great way to think of it. 5 proteins. Good taste. Okay. So then, you know, I mean, it's always dieting season. It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
2 great products. Abs Plus, which is a CLA formula.
With the green tea,
Green tea, the ECGs, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely increases a couple different things. A little bit on the thermogenic, helps with fat burning, a little bit with appetite, so forth and so on. Then we go for trim, okay. So fiber formula with the glucomannan, and then
green coffee bean extract,
green coffee bean,
shifting the
getting the liver to metabolize fatty acids more effectively. All right. So then, definitely the skin moment. So dermalipids, the ceramides strengthening up the skin.
Yeah.
Then we've got the healthy skin multi.
Got the multivitamin with added value ingredients there. Yeah.
Added value ingredients, and then the perfect skin, especially acne situation.
Acne-prone skin, that's right.
Right.
And
then the final product,
finally,
inflammation.
Inflammation, reducing inflammation by that eggshell membrane. It's a 1-a-day, solid scientific research behind it. And again, it's a whole food, if you will, and that's what I really like about it, right?
All right, great. Dr. Logan, thanks for coming down.
It's a pleasure.
From
really
Canada.
nice to meet you. Talk with you for hours. You're a great guy. Thanks a lot.
I think we'll just continue the conversation since we've kind of exhausted everything for the audience. Then afterwards, we'll hang out and do a little bit more.
Sounds good. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks. This is Starkey Sowers, Director of Education for Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market. Thanks for joining us today.